name is Scott Mendenhall. Hopefully you're joining us from the last One Wheel video to South Dakota. I'm never alone in here. I'm always with some of my most favorite people. I got Joey Sonnenfeld over there.
Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Joey.
Joey, you're blue on blue, man. Background blue.
If you didn't know, we have a summer camp going on and I'm the blue team. I'm not going to be wearing this, but I've decided to rep the blue
Yeah,
team.
well done, man. Well
Right
done.
now.
Okay, and we have flies in the studio, so if you see us waxing on and waxing off, it's because we got flies. It's just, and we are not alone. It's not two males today. We got Lily.
I am here, and I am here to claim almost a victory. I was so close.
You were, but hey.
I will be coming back for you guys.
Close only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades, Lily.
That's fine, but you guys don't even need to really show up because you're not going to win anyways. So, in this next upcoming race series we're doing.
Joey. Have you ever, does it, like when she talks trash?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't like, you just laugh at it.
Yeah.
Like, if you were in the comments and she was like talking a little bit of trash actually, which I was actually like, wow, Lily, like I've never
Are
seen
you
you actually
saying
do that.
it doesn't?
But then she puts like a trash bag or a trash can
emoji.
Emoji.
Funny.
And I just start laughing. I'm just like, Lily.
It's like when you're around your mom, if your mom's like a post or pre-technology and then they talk to you in only emojis and they think they're being really clever and you're like, you just shake your head at them. That's what we were doing with Lily with the trash can emojis.
With your mom?
That's right, we did, Lily. That's how you trash talk. It's subtle, sweet, and then you catch that you just got.
She's so sweet about it. Which is a good thing, Lily. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Lily, you do have a chance, like, honestly, as we wipe the slate clean and we are headed to the Great Lakes in a couple weeks to film an epic 24-hour race starting in New York and racing to the last Great Lake. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to give away loot in every episode of One Wheel gear for Pennington XR, so we're really stoked on that. So that will kick off in September. But before that, we have a lot of in-between individual races. Next week, we got one that is so funny. We filmed it a couple weeks ago. You're going to absolutely love it. It's right here on our trail system here. And the winner gets the carbon fiber fender for their pint. So you don't want to miss that next week. But nonetheless, it's gonna be good. Joey, honestly though,
yes.
As you watch back, you're like, especially at the end, like you lost your like mojo. Or if I was like,
what happened?
Top Gun would be you lost the love and feeling.
Like I don't know if I lost my mojo. I did a little bit. Like I got sorry. I did get frustrated. Just losing, and then when you keep losing, it's just like
And then what, Joey?
Yeah, you're gonna call out a ref here. I can feel it. You're gonna call. Get out.
I did 4 cartwheels.
Joey, that was one race. That was literally.
You were already like on the losing train by that point.
Like, well, how
Scott
are you
grabbed my shorts and
because
went from there.
It's
like
all because somebody else's fault, bro. Come on, you own your own.
It's my fault.
No, I did grab your shorts. I'm not gonna lie. I did grab your shorts.
I don't know what to say.
And caused
you guys are always messing with each other. Like that's how I win a lot of these races.
Wait, so you're admitting it's not by skill? It's because Joey and I are messing around.
I will take a win however it comes, unless I'm cheating. Maybe.
Are you confessing that you've cheated?
I've cheated, yeah.
What? I cannot remember a time that
I cheated in the race that will be coming up in a couple weeks.
You did?
Scott doesn't think he cheats because he's the one.
But no one said it wasn't allowed, but it probably wasn't.
Wait, I did not say anything about me not cheating. You filled that one in. Okay. Nonetheless, thank you for hanging with us. We got a great day planned for you. Today we're going to talk about how to handle mean people. Joey, would you classify yourself if you had a meter that like just moved to nice person, mean person? Where would your meter be?
I would say
for you
in one wheel racing, a little bit me. In real life, I feel like I'm like super nice.
Super nice. Okay. Yeah. How about you, Lily? How would you, if there was a meter of mean to super nice, how would you? And we'll do one wheel races and in real life. Where would your meter be?
I would say on one wheel races, the meter would be all the way on super nice, and in real life, the meter would be all the way on super nice.
Hold on. Did you not knowingly plan a cartwheel race because Joey and I can't really do that?
No, I knowingly planned the cartwheel race because I knowingly know that I'm really good at cartwheels.
So that sounds pretty mean to me.
I just use my gifts and talents to my advantage.
Okay. fair
Yeah,
enough.
I'm a really nice person.
Yes, you are. And then I would, because everybody will go, how about you, Scott? I would say on a meter scale, this side being good, this side being mean. When it comes to one-wheel races, I'm definitely the definition of good and kind and fair.
Sure,
And then in
sure.
real life, I'm definitely somewhere not as fair. And not, no, I'm just
What?
I'm
No,
just
I would say in real life you're kind, and then in one-wheel races you are not kind. You are trash
Joey,
talker.
Joey goes,
No,
you think,
Scott's
Joey?
he knows how to be everywhere, I feel like.
What you're trying to say
He's a
is when it's
chameleon.
He's a
racing,
chameleon.
when I'm racing, there's a different version of me than. So if you think you know me from the races, that's the race guy.
Yeah.
I don't think you're like
I mean, I don't know. No,
that
no.
different.
I mean, I don't even know. You're just Scott. I think you're Scott in every situation.
My friends
I don't
don't
think
even
you're that
know
much
me.
different, actually.
my friends.
I
don't
think
even know
you in
me.
races is
I'm
you
just
messing
mean-
around in real life too.
Okay, fair enough. I got to schedule a therapy session. So let's throw
Oh
it to the
my
video. No, it just
goodness.
doesn't. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna play a quick movie game quiz, and then we're gonna get to a lot of cool, fun stuff today. So check this video out. It's just to get you inspired about starting our day, getting after it today. Our hopes on this channel is to inspire you to take steps in your relationship with God, with Jesus. And we hope that doesn't turn you off and don't go, oh, they're done talking about, well, no, hang with us. I think today we're going to help you deal with some mean people. You know, how do you handle that? So check out this video. We'll be right back. Thanks for hanging with us today.
There was nothing until God said, now is the time. And suddenly, something. So many things, stars and seas, birds and trees, and so there was creation. Until God said, now is the time. And suddenly, a man, a woman, shaped in his image, made from the earth in his breath, separated by sin nonetheless. And so there were humans. Until God said, now is the time. And suddenly, a savior, a baby, a son, sent to reunite us and to save everyone. Until God says again, now is the time. On Sunday morning, the alarm goes off. Working a 9 to 5, but at what cost? Staring at our phones, looking for a picture to post and doze off. Just to let everyone think we're all right. All the while wondering, is there more to life? We're walking out paces with all the other stranger faces, checking off the things that make us good people. Treat others equal, don't be deceitful, but is there more to life? Just like before, we can hear God implore. Now is the time for hope and connection. Enough of seclusion, rejection. Now is the time for resurrection, for starting over. Enough of the shame. Now is the time to shout it, proclaim. I believe there is more. What are you waiting for? It's yours and it's mine. Now is the time for more than just me. Now it's time for us and we. Now it's time for God's family. You can't find it alone, and it goes beyond things that are known. Now is the time to see you are loved. No more pressure, no measure. We're better together. Now is the time to share tragedies and victories with others. No more wondering, no more wandering. Here is only belonging. Now is the time.
Man, do I love that right there. Now is the time. That gets me jacked up.
It does get me
I
jacked up.
gotta watch that right before our next big old race in the Great Lakes.
Like, now's the time to
Let's
win.
Let's go, baby!
Whatever helps you guys.
Come on!
Whatever helps you.
Yeah.
Truly.
Come on. No,
Okay.
that
Whatever you
video's
need,
not...
Whatever you need.
Yeah, listen, she's still practicing the trash talking thing. Like, I think you need a tattoo on your face if you're gonna do that. That would help
I'm
us feel...
tough, okay?
I feel
I'm
like
tough.
Maybe a trash can.
Yeah.
A trash can right behind
Trash
your ear.
can.
Oh, wait,
my
you
God.
have a hanger behind your ear.
Yeah, get out of here.
No, I think it's when
I'm
you're
gonna hang
trash
you up
talking,
and
Lily.
leave you to dry.
Lily, I think that the fact that you like, it's like you're saying it as a comedian,
I
right?
am.
She's
Yeah,
like, I'm
exactly.
gonna hang you out to dry. If you just say it with the snarl, that'd be great. All right, hey, we want to say good morning to heaps of people in the chat. It's on fire today, man. Dan Woodham, Good to see you. Your posts this week on Instagram were
So good.
hilarious with
So
the bow
good,
tie.
Dan.
Joey, did you see any of those?
Yes, I did actually. I saw the
Joey,
bow
do you know how to tie a bow tie?
No, I don't know how to tie a tie, guys.
You gotta work on that. Gotta work on that.
Our sound
asked-
engineer says he knows how to tie a bow tie, so
Who
he
does?
can teach you. Our sound guy today.
Oh, well, he can teach me.
Okay, so Dan, thank you for posting that. We love seeing what's going on. If you don't follow Dan Woodham on Instagram, you need to do that.
At
It's
Dan
so
Woodham.
hilarious. I'm not even gonna describe it because I won't do justice. It just caught me like, ha ha. So I see what you did there, Dan. Okay, but we have Kayla Lilly in the house. We got John Richards in the house. We got Noah. Who else we got sitting in here? Jamie Nelson's in the house. Just so cool to see all these names. Mary Mendenhall, Tim Bailey, Teresa Mendenhall, and Sarah Briggs are in the live chat today. If you want to be a part of that conversation, jump over there. You can talk to a bunch of people about what's happening. We love just being able to see names pop up there and the conversation going. We really want you to call this your church where you are, so you experience like that video where now is the time for change. Now is the time for us to make a difference in the world. Not waiting for a group of people to do it, but we are the group. We want to motivate you where you are in South Africa, in Florida, in Michigan, New York, California, and Minnesota. We want to inspire you to say, now is the time. But don't get me started because we're not quite ready for all of it. But just, man, let's not wait, right, Joey?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is,
it's like a pep talk.
yeah. But this is life, not a game.
Right.
Yeah.
It's real
It's
life.
not a dress rehearsal, folks. This is all you got, right?
See, again, you did it again. You just say it.
She's just like,
She's just smiling.
Wait, but seriously,
certain
I'm
mood
just
over there.
adding to what you're saying.
What
Because
with the
it's
big
true,
smile?
it's not a dress rehearsal. This is it.
This is it. That's right. Collins
one
Brewer in the
opportunity.
chat. Good to see your name pop up in there. We got Jen, but then retracted, but Jen's in there. So good to see you there. Lily, I do think it's that smile of yours is like very contagious, but it's hard to tell. Is she being serious, funny, or trash talking?
Well,
It's
I
like
don't-
we need a print up. And if you want to know what Lily is looking at, she's trying to see her if it's getting switched to her, so she looks off to the far distance to the left. Lily, look straight ahead, and we're switching to you now. There we go. Yes.
I'm ready.
You're ready.
I don't know what to say,
Well,
but I'm here and I'm ready to have a great day today.
Oh man, this is great. Let's just leave it on Lily for a little bit and just see what she does. Let's just see what she does here.
No, I don't know what to say.
We're just gonna leave it. We're just leaving it. Just,
We're done.
we're not.
Done here.
We're not signing
We're
off.
fighting.
We're not. We're
No
leaving it here.
more. No, we're done. I'm sweating. Joey, why do I feel like we're back in the RV all of a sudden? Like you
Yeah,
just don't know what's gonna happen.
We're
I'm
just
just
leaving
glad
it.
it's happening to her. not
We're
me.
leaving it right now.
I think I started to cry a little.
Yeah, everybody's watching it. We can see the tears coming, Lily.
You know, there's like.
I feel like there's a lot I
30
could be
people
saying
watching.
right now.
Oh man.
Well, welcome to the rodeo.
That's it. That's where we're. That's the word.
Well,
of the-
I just I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay,
You
thank
guys
you
are
for playing along,
exploiting
Lily. Oh, that's so good. Joey's wiping the tears off his eyes. Hopefully that came off as well for you guys at home. Joey got caught off guard there. See?
Oh, yawning.
Oh man, let's just leave it on Joey.
It's,
See what he
it's
does.
just a hot mess today, you guys.
It is not.
And of course, it's Scott is like putting it on us. Let's just actually, I'm just
Yeah,
just
put
let's
it
not
on
put it on
Scott.
Scott.
What's he
Because-
gonna
No,
do?
because he does a great job
What'll he
talking
do?
to the camera.
What will he do? What do you talk about? What I do?
Because he knows the next video.
I'll
Well,
do.
I know the next
You
video.
have a set list right in front of your.
I know, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, now it's just getting weird.
Okay.
It's-
Thank you, everyone,
it's-
for putting up with our shenanigans here. We really hope that it's coming off where we're putting a smile on your face wherever you are. We want it to be a distraction from your week because we know when you log in here, man, you could be coming in at the top of the week, best week ever. You got a raise, you bought the house you wanted, you got the new car, or it could be the reverse. You lost your house, lost your car, and you're just like, what do I do now? And you're like, you're saying now is the time for what? Our hope is over the next few moments to encourage you to pick you up, put the pieces back together, and inspire you to keep moving forward, that God still has a plan for you. Even if you don't believe in God, He still has a plan for you, and He loves you, and He's allowed you to be here at this very moment to laugh at Lily and have a good laugh at Joey yawning on the screen and watching some one-wheel races, and hopefully to grab your attention and say, I have not forgotten you. Like, you wherever you are watching this. If it's midweek and you're watching this, God has not forgotten about you. This moment has always been planned for you in your life today. And so we're going to throw it to a video that gives us a chance to start to reflect on the goodness of God, or what role does God play in your life, the questions you need answered by God to like make sense of the universe and of God. Over the next few moments while you listen to the lyrics, or I really encourage you to sing along with it. We want you to take and reflect on who God is and what is He saying to you. Give a little bit of worth to God, and then we'll be right back to talk about what do you do with mean people. Enjoy this video right here. We'll be right back.
I fix my eyes upon the cross. I'm reaching out with all I've got. I'm letting go to start again. I need your love, that's why I'm here. Waiting outside my life, it calls. So while I'm here, I'll give my all. You are my peace within the storm. Here at the cross I find my home. You are greater, Jesus, you are greater than it all. You are greater, Jesus, you are greater than it all, than it all. Grace and mercy found. Oh, the blood of Jesus is greater. Grace and mercy found me. Oh, the blood of Jesus is greater. Lord, I believe you rose again. So I don't believe this is the end. You never fail, you have a plan. My life you hold within your hands. Oh, so I'll walk by faith and not by sight. For you are my source, you are my life. Stretch these wings, now I can fly. You are greater, Jesus, you are greater than it all. You are greater, Jesus, you are greater than it all. Than it all. Grace and mercy found me. Oh, the blood of Jesus is great. Oh, oh. Grace and mercy found me. Oh, the blood of Jesus is greater. Let's sing that one more time. You are greater. Yeah. You are greater, Jesus, you are greater than it all.
Okay, that song and those lyrics, whoo! Just humming it along. That'll get your perspective right, especially when dealing with mean people. Today's topic is how to handle mean people. And we talked a moment ago, on a scale of 1 to 10, ourselves being mean or kind or nice. Now, the question we get, what do you do when you are dealing with mean people? Joey, have you ever had a run-in with a mean person?
Yes, I have, but not really like I don't know if I've really had a encounter with just like someone just randomly like being mean to me. I feel like it was, let's go to Lily on this question. I think.
But no, here go. Let me ask it a little bit different because you coach football.
Right.
So, I think that even you alluded to something where you say, well, a random person being mean to me. Usually, the people that are random mean people to us, driving down the street, they're mean to us, you can kind of just do that. But when it's somebody you know or are connected to relationally because you coach their kid or something, have you ever had a parent yell at you for the way you coach, or my kid doesn't get enough playing time and they come off slightly mean to you? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, that has. Parents, I've had to deal with parents that have been like, hey, I want my kid to have more playing time. And actually now what I'm thinking of, a mean person, and I wouldn't say when we were saying mean people, I think they still have good hearts and they have good things inside of them. I don't know if they're just completely mean people. I don't like to just say they're absolutely mean people, but they can be mean. But I had a situation where actually a player of mine wrote something on Huddle, which is it's like a text message kind of thing, but it was just specifically to me. And he was not happy with his playing time, and he was saying some bad words at me and saying how I shouldn't be a coach and da-da-da and saying all this stuff. And so I was just like, oh, all right, sounds good. And then I had to really kind of process that and make sure I don't react.
Ooh, so what you're saying is that something rose up in you when you were reading that. That something, was your first reaction to high five them or something else, Joey?
Yeah, I would not say my first reaction was to high five them. My first reaction was probably going to be like, who do you think you are? Yeah.
You had the power to actually eliminate the playing time, right? Did you, is that what you're kind of maybe, okay, I'll show you, you won't get to play near as much. Right? Is that
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, he wasn't playing a lot in the first place, and then he just got really mad about it, the situation, and
Without giving, I understand where you're coming from. How about you, Lily? We talk about mean people. Have you ever had a moment where you're just somebody said something to you, and you had to figure out what you were going to do? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, of course, but I do have an instance. Now, this is someone who's somewhat of a stranger, but I worked at Starbucks for a long time, and, customer service is customer service, but coffee service is a whole nother level because you get people who haven't had their coffee yet. And, even myself, there's just a version of these people, myself included, if I don't have my coffee yet, you might not want to mess with me. But there was this one woman who came in every single day. She would get an iced venti non-fat decaf latte every day. So I know her order. And I handed her her drink and she asked, is it decaf? And I said, it's decaf. And she grabbed it and it spilled all over her. And she blamed it on me. She was livid. And I just remember my eyes going wide and my coworkers' eyes going wide. Everyone saw what happened. It was her fault. And, it wasn't her fault. It was Starbucks' fault because the ice cups are so flimsy. If you squeeze them too hard, they spill everywhere. And that's what happened. And it was unfortunate, but it got all over her. She's yelling at me. She's like, what are you thinking of all that? And I just remember looking at her and saying, that wasn't intentional. I didn't even know what else to say, but it, when someone's mean to you, it hurts, immediately. Someone almost punched you in the face with their words. And I just remember feeling like I was in a fishbowl because everyone was watching how I was gonna react. And I, to this day, think about it because it just hurt. It hurt so bad. I didn't even know this person, and it hurt my soul.
And there's two different stories. One Joey knew of. Second, the individual or Lily didn't know the woman and still hurt. It's mean people, and we're going to clump everybody around. Like, mean people, kind of like Joey said, I don't think most people are just inherently mean. They just might be having a day, and then they say mean things to us, which then for the moment are mean people. They hurt us. Now, today, as we talk about, our hopes is to help you deal with mean people, and then hopefully it's understood that we should not be mean people. I enjoy social media and I enjoy YouTube, but I'm telling you what, being on YouTube, and people, Lily calls them trolls, they'll jump in and just give comments, like not always encouraging comments about maybe my energy or Joey. Usually I'm the one that gets the negative comments, but even though there's people that I don't know who's writing it, they're just writing it. It trumps all, even if I had 10 great comments, that one just derails you going, oh, why are we doing this? Like, why do I want to put myself out there to get responses like this? And then the same thing that Joey's talked about, Lily talked about, and I talked about, something swells up in you and you just want to lash out. I wrote it like this in my notes. Mean people in our lives gains a measure of control over our lives when they change our behaviors. I'm going to read that one more time. I don't know if we have that for the screen or not, but mean people in our lives gain a measure of control over our lives when they change our behaviors. Meaning, when someone says something to you that hurts you, and then you turn around and react and hurt them, they have the upper hand. They changed you. They changed your personality, your attitude for the slightest bit. Why in the world do we do that? Why do we let the person that agitates us and hurts us actually now have the ability to control us in some form? So I was thinking about that, okay? I know that's a tough one, like to just throw the questions to Lily and Joey on that, and so I'm not going to do it. Because I took a moment to think about, okay, when that happens, when mean people say something to me which then changes my behavior or my mood, what's it do? It keeps me off balance now. Like, instead of like solid feet 2 on the ground, I'm wobbling a little bit. I'm like, whoa, and I'm looking for somewhere to gain my balance. And when we're off balance, we're forced to compensate. Joey, what happens like when you're riding your one wheel?
Yeah.
And you lose your balance on it. Let's say you're starting to fall backwards. What do you do when you lose your balance on it? What's the natural reaction? Going backwards, what do you want to do?
Go backwards.
Okay, but how
go forward. Like,
how do you compensate going backwards?
Going forward.
Going forward, right? That's
Right.
how you do it. And then what happens when you compensate a lot of times? We have a perfect video of you doing this too. I should have pulled it out. Yeah, for sure. You face planted, landed right on your chest. Remember that one?
Yeah.
You go to fall backward and then you just like Superman.
Yeah.
Because you overcompensate.
Right.
And so it creates a mess of the overcompensation.
Yes.
So when we're off balance, we're forced to compensate. And then when we compensate, we usually make a mess. Our initial response is to become a lot like the mean person. And that's the concern for me towards you. Is that when I look through social media, like on Instagram, and I follow Tim Tebow. And when he posts something, it's like 50-50 on nice comments and mean comments. It's like, why do you have to be so mean? Because if we're not careful, when that happens to us, and we respond to the mean person the way we want to tell them off, we want to get on Facebook and write to them, but we feel justified because we're falling back, we got hit back a little bit, so we want to hit back, and now all of a sudden we become like the mean person, right? The golden rule. Lily, what is the golden rule?
Do unto others as you would have them do to you.
Okay, so when you say that, Lily, do unto others as you want them to do to you. In the quickest response, explain that to me. What does that mean?
Treat people how you want to be treated. So if you don't want to be punched in the face, probably not a good idea to punch someone else in the face.
Thank you for saying it just like that, because I think that's how everyone has learned the golden rule. And these are Jesus' rules. These are Jesus' guidelines. He says this. The golden rule that you see in kindergarten on the wall, that's actually Jesus' words. And we all read it that way. And we've been taught it. Oh, if you don't want to get punched in the face, so don't punch somebody else. I think the golden rule when Jesus is saying that, because he's not necessarily about the negative. He's like, hey, would you like somebody to buy you coffee? then buy somebody coffee. You want somebody to hold the door for you, then hold the door for them. You want somebody to give you a car, then give them a car. It's not, don't do the negative. That's not, duh, we get it. That's a no-brainer. Jesus is saying treat other people like you want, like do for others what you want them to do for you in the positive. Let people, if you are over 16 in the United States and you drive, instead of getting angry at the person that you've ever been in those where it's merge signs come and you get over a mile before the merge because you're just being polite, and then some guy goes buzzes right by you or wants to get over, you're like, you should just get back there, and you get all angry and become a mean person. Well, what would I like? Oh, if that was me, I would like somebody to let me in. Just let them in. Golden rule is not about don't do the negative. But see, here's the thing about the golden rule. Do unto others as you want them to do to you. This is great until somebody mistreats you or mistreats somebody that you love. Golden rule is great until you get punched in the face. And then you're like, now what do I do? I'll take it out on you because I can't take it out on. This is what happens. I get hurt. Let's say Joey hurts me. Okay, let's say Joey says something to me that frustrates me over the next few moments here. And because we're on camera, I'm not going to take it out on Joey because that would be a public mess. And so what I do, I keep it inside. I walk out of the studio. I see one of my kids, and because that's my kids and I have power over them, I'm going to be mean to them. I'm going to take it out on them because, well, I can. I can't do that to Joey it just wouldn't be correct. It wouldn't be polite. Nor is it correct and polite to do that to my kids. But great, golden rule is great until I get hurt or someone that I love gets hurt. And then it's like, I'm going to take it out on somebody because what do I do with it? We often probably say it like this: whoever has hurt me or wronged me, I'm going to get even with them. At some point. It might not be in that moment, but I'm going to figure out how to get even with them. Getting even makes us even with someone we don't even like. Okay, you've seen that on your screen right there. Getting even makes us even with someone we don't even like, meaning you become just like them. You might not have yelled at them, but you yelled at your children or your wife or your husband or someone. You just lost your mind at somebody at the gas station and they had never done anything to you. It was just that you just lost it. Now you've become like the person that did it to you, and it's a vicious cycle. It's the pecking order. You became a mean person to that person, but you never meant to do that. So we're going to use a quick story. One of my favorite characters in the Bible, King David. We're going to talk about him before he was king. If I can, one day I'm going to make a movie about King David. I want to do this. And I should stop talking, Joey, about wanting to do it. I just need to do it.
Now is the time.
Yeah, now is the time, baby. That's right. But in David's life, like, it would be just a great video. Okay, so we're going to talk about David, but I want to give you some setup on David, and then we're all going to kind of take a chance or take some parts here and read it, okay? So here's some behind the scenes about David. David was wandering at this point. We're going to jump into his story. He was wandering. He was homeless. He was actually being chased by the current king, King Saul. So he's living in cave to cave, trying to stay ahead of the king. So that means that David was a fugitive. David was told that he was going to be the next king, yet the current king's trying to kill him. And it felt like at some points in David's life that the king was actually going to kill him. So he's like, how's that going to work if I was told I was going to be the next king and I die? He has attracted other men like him, the outcasts, the fugitives of their cities. Now he's got around 400 other outlaws and bandits that are angry at somebody that are now hanging out with him. And so not only is he running from the king alone, but with 400 men and then their wives and children. So he's got a small city traveling with him. It's not like you can just hide that. He has no home. He's on the run with angry people and himself angry. I wrote it like this in my notes. David has all of this anger and is looking for a place to take it out on because King Saul is untouchable. It's the king. He couldn't get to the king because it's the king. And so his frustration, he's looking for somebody in his point in his life here to take it out on him. And so the story you're about to read, he finds his victim. This is a tremendous story. Like, just if you can, when we read it, just all cinematic, like snow falling. Just if you could. Actually, if you want to know what we thought it looked like, Lily and I, one snowstorm many years ago on my YouTube channel, we taught on this, and she and I walked through, like, I think we got, what did we get? Like almost 2 feet of snow that day, Lil?
It was so much snow. Like we filmed this story, and we weren't like acting it out, but we were just telling the story, and it was like thick snowflakes. So you could see them in the camera, no after edit. It was amazing.
That Sunday, church had been canceled for us here in Maple Grove, and so we filmed it. And so I don't remember the name of the video. Do you, Lil?
I don't. I was looking for it this week when we were writing up the teaching notes and stuff, but I haven't found it yet. We'll have to look for it.
You can read along with us in 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 2. That's where this story takes place. We'll try to keep it up on the screen. And so let me read a portion of it. A certain man who had property came to Carmel, was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he was shearing in Carmel. Okay, to us, that doesn't mean anything to us, really, in this day and age. Joey, 1,000 sheep or goats and 3,000 sheep.
Right.
Mean anything to you?
Not really, but does it mean mean something to somebody? Probably.
Yeah.
That's
For
a lot.
Me? No, I don't
No.
think.
I mean, that's a lot.
That is a
of
lot.
Goats and sheep.
Yeah,
That's
like,
a lot.
Well,
remember
what would
last
I
week
do
when
with them?
Dan said he has 23 chickens?
Chickens.
Right, it's like...
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
1,000 chickens?
1,000 chickens. Imagine that.
That's crazy. 3,000 sheep. I mean, okay, but what this means, the reason why the author, which this is Samuel writing like a biography on David's life, and so Samuel is trying to give the point that, hey, the owner of these is very wealthy. To have that amount of goats and sheep means they are very, very, very wealthy. It would be wrote today, to kind of give the similar, it would be like they had 10 stall garages with Lamborghinis and the best cars of the day inside it. That's what would be said of today to give us like the understanding this dude is wealthy. And so ancient readers would have heard this and go, wow, this dude's got tons of money. Current day readers would read and go, the dude is a goat herder? I mean, that's not so good. That's not what I dreamt of being. And so the dude was wealthy. His name was Nabal, which Nabal means, when you translate it in a few different ways, there's his name on the screen, heavy, foolish, folly. Okay, how about that for a name? Joey, do you know what your name means?
My name's Joey.
Yeah, do you know what it means?
My name, Joey.
Actually, I do. Baby kangaroo. That's all I know.
Oh my goodness! I don't think that's what it. I think that's what it is. I don't know what Scott. I mean, if you asked me what does Scott mean, I would be like, it's a dog. It's a little dog that.
Yeah, I don't know what Joey is.
I don't know what Scott is.
Right.
Lily, do you know what yours is?
A flower.
Yes, and you don't know what it
Hello.
means either. This is great. Thank you, Mom and Dads, that named us with names that are of objects and animals. I don't know, which would you rather
Is
be?
Scott actually a dog?
Yeah, the
Scottish Terrier.
Yeah, the Scottish Terrier.
Okay, Joey.
Okay. So here's the deal. It's sheep shearing time. Now, Nabal's about to find out how much more wealthy he was going to be. Sheep shearing time meant you were going to find out how many more goats and sheep you had and how much more wool you were going to get. So it's going to be payday. You're going to get lots and lots of money. And the story goes, and his wife, Abigail, she's important, she was an intelligent and beautiful woman. But her husband was truly harsh and mean in his dealings. Okay, so that just tell you, like, Samuel in the biography of David's life is making sure we understand that Nabal is not someone to mess with, kind of a jerk. Okay, he was basically a pain to deal with. He was a burden to deal with. In fact, the text tells us that he was just downright mean as an individual. So that's where we're going to learn what to do with mean people and what happens to all of us when dealing with mean people. Story continues. While David was in the wilderness, he heard that Nabal was shearing sheep. He sent his young men and said to them, go up to Nabal and greet him in my name and say to him, long live you. Good health to you and your household and good health to all of you and yours. That is yours. Okay. That, like, ancient time readers would read that and go, oh, he's coming in peace. That's what that means. When you start a conversation that says, I'm coming in peace, without saying I'm coming in peace, that's just what you said. That's how you started the conversation. I come to you in peace. 1 Samuel chapter 25. Now I hear that it is sheep shearing time. When your shepherds were with us, we did not mistreat them. And the whole time they were at Carmel, nothing of theirs was missing. This is David saying, hey, we protected them. We didn't steal from them. We could have. We're an army of 400 and you got just shepherd boys out on the side of the hill. We could have taken whatever we want, but we didn't. And when other outsiders came in to steal from them, we protected them. So we're not your enemy. You're benefiting from us. So listen to what I have to say. So David telling his men to say this. David told them then, ask your servants and they will tell you. Therefore, be favorable towards my men, since we come at a festive time. Please give your servants and your David whatever you can find for them. Then, when David's men arrived, they gave Nabal the message in David's name. And they waited. Nabal knew exactly what they were asking. Nabal checked in with his guys to see if it was all true, found out it was true, that David wasn't hurting them, it was protecting them. And Nabal, harsh, shrewd, mean man, made him wait. Like, we don't actually know how long he waited, but he had to wait. The men standing there waiting for a response, it's a simple one. It's not that difficult. You're either going to give resources or you're not. But Nabal made them wait. Why? Because it's Nabal. Now, as they wait, when I say, Lily, when I say King David, what are your thoughts? Would you describe to me King David? How would you describe him?
In general, based on everything I know about him? Well, I would describe to him as someone who persevered. He was determined to get to where he was promised, which we said he was promised to be king. But I don't know. I just think I feel like he was an upright dude, for the most part.
Wonderful. Seriously, all these questions, we don't run through these. These are all as authentic as we can get them. And so when I asked I was hoping for that answer, because I think that's how we all see David. Because especially if you grew up in church, you hear David and Goliath, shepherd boy coming. But the true fact, when you read through David's life, the dude was a man of violence. I mean, we read encounter after encounter where David would go into a town and he would take everything, and he wouldn't leave a man or a woman alive because he didn't want them to let the next village know who did it. I mean, that does not sound like who Lily just described, but that's the very man we are reading about. We grew up with, he's the little guy, scrawny guy, beat the giant, woo! But when you go through the lens of David's enemies, like the Philistines, David regularly raided their villages. I mean, you can read it. The biography writer, he describes it this way in 1 Samuel chapter 27. Whenever David attacked an area, he did not leave a man or a woman alive. He took the sheep and cattle, donkeys and camels and clothes. Then he would return to wherever he's coming from. That's the bibliography writer, is making sure we understand that David is not somebody that you just mess around with. David might have had an anger issue. It kind of seems like that. And so David in that time period of his life, he was a dangerous man. He was a violent man, even by the ancient standards. And Nabal should have already known this. Because of the reputation of David. He knew. I mean, somebody that had the wealth that Nabal had, he had people telling him who was close to his herds. And so there had to be a time where Nabal was reported, hey, David and his men are lurking around. They haven't done anything, but just so you know, they're around. And you know who David is, right? He's like, they're having this conversation. Yeah, let's see what he does. And so in 1 Samuel 25, back to the story, David said to his men, 1 Samuel 25, Nabal answered, after he made him wait, he answered, who is this David? I don't even know who this David, he's a scrawny little guy. Who is the son of Jesse? All these rumors, I'm not worried about this man. Many servants are breaking away from their masters these days. Why should I take my bread and water and meat I have slaughtered from my shearers and give it to men coming from who knows where? David's men returned back and went back, and they arrived and reported every word. This isn't Paul being a jerk, being mean like David. Who's scrawny little guy? He's nobody. It's the stories you just heard of Lily talking about the Starbucks person, and then Joey talking about the athlete. I don't get enough playing time, and you're such a bad coach. And this is the moment. David's going to be at that moment, and we're going to find out what David's response is when a mean person does what mean people do, and that is be mean. So he comes back and says, hey, Nabal doesn't even want, he's like pretending he doesn't even know who you are. David said to his men, each of you strap on your swords. So they did. And David strapped on his sword as well. And I think it's important here that, like, I think it was understood when the writer here said strap on your swords, we all understood it was probably everybody and David put your swords on. But he went on to say that David put his sword on because it's important that you and I might know, if you've read 1 Samuel from the first chapter to here, you know whose sword David is carrying. Now, I'm not expecting Joey or Lily to know this, but let's see if they know this. Joey, I am coming to you. Yeah. Whose sword is David carrying? Do you know that?
No.
Okay, fair. Lily, do you know whose sword David is carrying?
Could he be carrying King Saul's sword?
That's a fair guess. Way to just throw one out there. No, he's carrying Goliath's sword.
Oh,
when you go back to David and Goliath, the story, David pulls out Goliath's sword and chops off Goliath's head. And then that becomes his sword. He gets it. Just read it. I mean, it's such a good movie because Samuel takes the sword, holds it for a season, and then David gets it back. It's a great read, but nonetheless, he's got Goliath's sword, which is a big deal here because that sword represents a moment in David's life where God showed up and God did something, that God avenged him, that God stepped in. It was a reminder. But here in this moment, David grabs the sword in anger and forgets what God had done before, and that God would go before him and take care of these things, that God is his provider. This happens a lot to all of us when we get hurt by people. We forget that we are followers of God and we are to love everyone, and we forget that we're supposed to treat that person like a human and to give them dignity and to be loving. We forget what God's done in the past, and we strap on our swords of words and texting, and we go and lash out at people because we forgot what God has done before. So David straps on the sword, forgetting what it represents. And David says, mess with me and you will see me. Mess with me and you will pay. So David he saddles up his horses and they ride down a path with 400 of his men. 1 Samuel 25, about 400 men went up with David. I mean, this is overreaction to the maximum. He is just freaking out. He leaves 200 people back to watch all their supply and their women and takes 400 to go deal with this instance. I mean, talk about overreaction, but this is David. I will show you. When might makes right, I'm going to show you how mighty I can be. David is not going to go and talk, this is going to be a massacre. He's not coming to take the goats. He's coming to destroy the city. He is, you know this phrase, when people get hurt people hurt people, or persecuted people persecute people, or people that are being chase people. This is what's happening. So, picking back up in the story, this is where Abigail comes back in. One of the servants told Abigail, Nabal's wife, David sent messengers from the wilderness to give our master his greetings, but he hurled insults at him. These men were very good to us. They did not mistreat us, and the whole time they were with us in our fields near them, nothing was missing. Night and day, there were a wall around us the whole time we were herding our sheep near them. Now, think it over. See what you can do, because disaster is hanging over our master and his whole household. He is such a wicked man, and no one can talk to him. Abigail acted quickly. So Abigail, remember it said she was intelligent and beautiful, genius here. She grabs tons of food, tons of animals, and she saddles them up. She sends them ahead. She says, get down the road. Get down, try to encounter David on your way here. Because I don't think our leader here, Nabal, has really thought this through. David's reputation goes before him. We're in big trouble. We are in very big trouble. So we jump into the story. As she came riding the donkey into a mountain ravine, there was David with his descending towards her, and she met him. David had just said, it's been useless, all my watching over these fellows' property in the wilderness, so that nothing of his was missing. He has paid me evil for good. May God deal with David, be it ever so severely, if by morning I leave alive one male of all who belongs to him. This is David's word saying, if I don't kill every last person in this village, then may God deal with me. This isn't him acting on God's behalf. He's just saying, this is how it's going to go. We are going, then we'll take what we want. David was set up to create a disaster. And to say David was upset is an understatement. When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed down before David with her face to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, pardon your servant, my lord, and let me speak to you. Hear what your servant has to say. Please pay no attention to my lord, to that wicked man Nabal. He is just like his name. His name means fool, and folly goes with him. And as for me, your servant, I did not see the men my Lord sent. She's saying, I didn't see what's happening. I was not around. I didn't get to step in, but I'm stepping in now. And this is the next part as we wrap this up. This is the next part that, this is the God reminder to David. And it took somebody that wasn't actually in this situation to point it out. See, oftentimes when we get hurt and we let our emotions rise up and we lash back out, it creates a train wreck. But if we can allow somebody to intervene that's not emotionally charged in it, to point us back to remind us that God is a God of peace and a God of love, and that let God handle those things. If we can have some and we listen to them, it can save train wrecks. So listen, this is here in the story. 1 Samuel chapter 25. And now, my Lord, again, this is Abigail. As surely as the Lord your God lives and you live, since the Lord has kept you from bloodshed and from avenging yourself with your own hands, may your enemies and all who are intent on harming my Lord be like Nabal. And let this gift which your servant has brought to my Lord be given to the men who follow you. Please forgive your servant's presumption. The Lord your God will certainly make a lasting dynasty for my Lord, because you fight the Lord's battle, and no wrongdoing will be found in you as long as you live. This is Abigail. She's such a genius. This is her casting vision into David's life. She's not speaking at the moment. She's saying, hold on. If you do what you're about to do, this will be a defining moment in your life that David the massacre. David avenges himself. Or if you don't do this, if you escape from this and becoming a mean person and treating a mean person with meanness, if you can escape from this, then you will be known as the man that lets God do the work, that God puts you in the spot. God made you king, that God provided you with the goats and the sheep and all of these things. If you would she's casting vision of who he can become in light of God. But the decision still is David's at this very moment. Because she says, no wrongdoing will be found in you as long as you live, even though someone is pursuing you to take your lives of your enemies. He will hurl away as the pocket of a sling. And she reminds at this moment what God has done in the past. She's trying to pull back. Hey, remember what God did once before when you were up against Goliath? This is another one of those moments. This is Goliath, and Nabal is Goliath. Do you want to take it into your hands? Do you want to go because you are stronger than it? You can do it. It was all a reminder. And David, he switches. He's like, thank you for standing in the gap between me and my decision to hurt him, to become a mean person. So what do we do with mean people? We treat them with kindness. Though your first reaction is to dream up all kinds of ways to get even with them, but it ultimately gives you or turns you into the next mean person. We've got to stop the equation. We've got to stop acting on the thoughts that pop into our minds quickly. And we need someone that's not emotionally charged in a scenario that we can go, hey, what do you think? I'm thinking about doing this. And you turn to go, this is the scenario I got. Is this the wise thing to do? You need a good friend there, though. Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of good friends. You need a great friend that will step in and go, no, I'm going to tell you if you're doing it wrong. And Abigail, who's putting her life on the line, coming and saying, David, you're clever the way she words it, but she really telling David, you're way wrong here, man. You're about to create a mess. Do you really want to do this? She wasn't afraid. She acted quickly and with intelligence. And David thanks her for doing that, turns around, and lives to fight another day. And actually becomes later on where God says, I found David, the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, who do everything I asked him to do. I have a feeling in this story, if David would have reacted with going in with his might and destroying the city and becoming a mean person, I don't think we would see that penned in the Bible. We wouldn't see the authors writing about David, a man after God's own heart. We would see David about his kingdom and not God's kingdom. And he had a moment where he was hurt by somebody and he was being pursued by another and he couldn't take it out on them, and he found his enemy and he was going to go hurt him. We've got to stop hurting people when we are hurt. We got to own our part of the story. Now, the cool thing about this story, and it's sometimes you don't want to give this part of the story because it just sounds like a fairy tale and made up, but Abigail goes back to Nabal and says, hey, I just saved your life, like a couple of days later, because when she came home, he was drunk. So she waits till he sobers up, and she goes and says, hey, I just want you to know I saved your life. While you were throwing that big party, I went and met David, and I gave him all of this food. But he was coming with 400 men, and he was going to kill you. And the author of the story writes that the fear overtook Nabal so much that he literally probably had a stroke or a heart attack in hearing the news, and a couple days later he dies from the news of what he heard was about to happen because of him being mean. Wipes. You know, the crazy bit is then Abigail and David, they end up getting married. I mean, you should read you can't make this stuff. I mean, it sounds like a made up, but it's not. It's real life. It's not. And then it doesn't go the end. They lived happily ever after. You got to read the story. It's wild. Okay. David's life is crazy, hot mess. It's a great way to look at what God does in his life, that God can do in your life, in my life. I hope today we set up with a story that would allow us to jump in and go, okay, I got to stop being the next mean person. I got to stop it here. It stops with me. We've got to make a conscious effort to go, I will not be a part of that equation. I'll no longer be a mean person. Thank you so much for hanging with us. We want to give you guys a chance to be able to give here at Unlock Church Online. We make it really simple, and even why we give you a chance to do it, because man, we want you to be faithful in your generosity to somewhere. And if that chooses to be Unlock Church, wonderful. You can text the word unlock to 77977. This is not a tip. Oh man, Scott, Lily, Joey, you made me laugh today, so I'm going to give you money. It's not for us, okay? This is our response to what Jesus is saying to us, being faithful in giving. This isn't the teaching part. This is just a part of, as we're winding it up today, we want to make sure you have a chance to be obedient in all areas of our lives. So thank you to those that are giving, those that call this home. And we're always excited to be here on Unlock Church Online with you guys every week. It's so much fun to be here. And we always want to have a relevant topic that'll help you to be the better version of you, to be the person that God's wanting you to be. So thank you for hanging with us. We love you. Lily's going to pray for us, and then we'll come back and we'll say adios. Lil, will you pray for us?
All right. What an awesome talk about mean people. I have a lot to go and implement in my real life now. So let's pray. God, thank you so much for this topic. Thank you for the story of Abigail and Nabal and David, and just the example that each of them set in different ways. God, I just pray that we will find ourselves in that story today, wherever we need to land, and start implementing how to be kind, how to be nicer, how to be more responsive instead of reactive. And let us just see where you're showing up in our lives, God. We love you, and it's in your son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lily, for praying. Thank you, Joey, for being with us today. Go Blue Team for camp.
All right.
Like it. We do have camp going on here locally in Maple Grove, so if you're local, it's not too late. You can go to unlocksummercamp.com and get your kids registered. It's a 3-day camp, starts tonight. We also have, if you're local in Minnesota, within a couple hours, you can drive down at 6:30, I think it is, right, Lil? That we have live.
30. Yep.
We have live music in the park as well right after camp. It's going to be so rad. You don't want to miss it. We'll be hanging out there. We're actually going to do a live race for the campers today, which will be hilarious. We will film it and it will make it up on our YouTube channel. We're bringing back the Rainbow Rail, and if you don't know what that is, it's our nemesis. It wasn't good. It's not good. It's not good, but we thought it would be hilarious for kids to watch us fail over and over and over and over again. Okay, that said, we hope to see you at one of those things, camp or live music in the park tonight. Guys, you can go to unlockchurch.com to get all the information and get the address to where we will be in the park tonight. Everybody else, those that are in the chat, thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you next week because this one is over.